But since we're on the subject on spirituality, Einstein also clarified his religious views, which I haven't talked about since he was 12, stating that he believed there was an old one, quote unquote, who was the ultimate lawgiver. He wrote that he did not believe in personal God that intervened in human affairs, but instead believed in the God of the 17th century Dutch Jewish philosopher Benedict de Spinoza, the God of harmony and beauty. And his task, Einstein's task, he believed was to formulate a master theory that would allow him to read the mind of God. Can you imagine? Now that is ego. Mm-hmm. But when you think about it, it's actually quite beautiful because he's thinking that his reason for being on Earth is to come up with a theory that's really going to help everybody understand what's the meaning of everything.
Yeah.
How did whoever created this put everything into place? Why did you put us on this planet? Why did you put us this far back from the sun? Why did you make my iPhone turn off after 16 hours of nonstop playing on it? Like, what's going on here, guy?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it is interesting, too, because you take somebody like that, right? You're talking about these profoundly smart people, and they're saying, essentially, like, I'm going to find the formula that allows me to get into the mind of God, which is the modern day interpretation of, I'm going to figure out the meaning of life. Yeah. What we're all circling around for, right? And it's funny because we have people at that level trying to do something to figure it out on a very real sense. And then you have people like us, or people more professional than us in motivational speaking terms and life coaching terms, who also have careers depending on people seeking out the answer towards the meaning of their life.
Yeah.
And the difference is with us and people like us on a much more successful scale and minor scale as well, mind you, we've kind of picked one answer and we just ride that wave.
Yeah.
You know, like, what's the meaning of life? That's easy. It's whatever you want it to be. Let's talk about that. And then we go from there. Whereas like these more like profound thinkers are just like, no, there's a formula we can figure out for this. So it's pretty interesting, because then the other interesting part is nobody has the answer.
Yeah. And that's why it's kind of beautiful too, and not really as egotistical as I kind of made it out to be. Because remember, there's also people hundreds of years before that were trying to make the Philosopher's Stone.
Right.
That was their way of dedicating their life to trying to find this thing in chemistry that would create, like, that would turn anything into gold. They were just trying to get rich.
Yeah.
Plain and simple. These guys are looking out for their own best interest.
Well, to them, that was the meaning of life.
Exactly. And then now this guy is like, I'm just trying to find reason with everything, so then everybody understands why they're here, and they don't have to start wars. They don't have to kill people just because they're different. They can just do their task, and we all are on the same page. But after talking to Edwin Hubble during the same visit to California, Einstein was asked to appear alongside the comic actor Charlie Chaplin, which is very funny because he was avoiding Hitler, and then he meets another guy with the same mustache. He actually met him during the Hollywood debut of the film City Lights, when they were mobbed by thousands, and Chaplin remarked, quote, "The people applaud me because everybody understands me, and they applaud you because no one understands you." And then Einstein asked Chaplin, "What does it all mean?" And Chaplin replied, "Nothing."
I love that. You get out there and you say something that sounds super profound, and everybody's just like, but explain that, and you're just like, yeah, it don't mean shit.
You know what the equivalent of this is?
What?
A Joe Rogan podcast with Elon Musk. A comedian and a genius.
Right.
Get in one room, they talk about it, and they eventually just smoke weed and talk about nothing.
Yeah.
What'd you learn from this episode? Nothing. Elon Musk likes weed, I guess.
Right.
That's what everybody talks about.
But, there are people of that magnitude today and of that type of intelligence. And then to see the things that they devote their time to. These people are no slouch. They know how important their time is on this world, and they feel the weight of their responsibility for what they have to give to the world. as you can tell with a lot of these stories with Albert Einstein. And the two main issues he thought were worth most of his time in his later years in life all were centered around peace in the world and creating a fair structure for the human race. Makes you think a lot.
Yeah. And it almost makes you have like such a negative feeling towards humanity that the groups of people would then take his beautiful creations of his equations, his theories, and work a way around that to make it destroy things, to make it easier for people to, wipe out towns, cities, countries, instead of creating beauty out of it, instead of creating a better understanding of this place we call home, which is Earth. And I would not only say that Einstein was ahead of his time, but he drastically improved our world and how we understand the universe as a whole. This not only tells you the life and achievements of Albert Einstein, but hopefully we can get you guys to see how one man can change the world so incredibly. If you have any interest in anything, a hobby you are passionate about, you can become just as influential in that field as Albert Einstein was to physics and the world in general. You just have to follow those goals you set for yourself and be disciplined. All right, everybody, I hope you enjoyed this quick highlight reel. Get that real meat of the episodes that we're putting out. And if you want to hear more of what we talked about this episode, if you have the Anchor app, feel free to listen to the rest of the episode on there. And if you don't, if you have any other podcasting platforms, Spotify, Google Podcast, you can check us out on that as well.
And if you guys really love us, you can check out our social medias. We are on Facebook. We are on Instagram. We post original exclusive content on those platforms, as well as even shorter clips for you guys to enjoy, because those clips include things like behind the scenes, some comedic relief, some hard-hitting moments on the show, just a little bit of everything, the real highlights for you guys. All those links will be down in the description.
And until next week, go on and get